Welcome to Forward Ever, Leading in Challenging Times, presented by Worth Wealth Management, a weekly conversation with area leaders about how to persevere during uncertain times. Now here's your host, Gary Shorman.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Forward Ever, Leading in Challenging Times. Great to have you listening along today because we always talk about or try to talk about challenging times and those who are leading their way through that. Higher education always seems to be leading the way in several things, but also many challenges along the line. Our guest today is Doug Johnson, who is the Director of Public Relations at Colby Community College. Welcome to our program, Doug.
Thank you, Gary. It's nice to be here.
You know what? The school's had some exciting news this past week, and according to preliminary enrollment reports from the Kansas Board of Regents, Colby Community College posted the highest full-time equivalency enrollment increase among all public institutions in Kansas. That's pretty darn cool. Doug, what's going on in Colby that causes all of this?
Well, it's been very deliberate planning over the last several years. We have really tried to focus on affordability, accessibility, and quality. And so we've been able to reach into some new areas for recruitment and enrollment. We've enhanced some of the areas that we already had. We have greatly strengthened our infrastructure and put up 3 new buildings in the last 4 years.
You know what? That's in Colby, and I have family in Colby, so get a chance to drive through. But the construction there, not only at the college, but at the hospital and other places, Colby is a growing Northwest Kansas community. But to be able to continue to grow in the education footprint, that is harder to do. Specifically, what are those new criteria that you put into place, that new programs, et cetera, that has helped with the growth?
Well, the first thing we wanted to do is make college accessible for a larger number of people. And a couple of years ago, our Board of Trustees approved something called the Colby Commitment Scholarship. And that is a tuition, fees, and books award that is available for our high school students in our 14 county service area who are on free or reduced lunches. And even those high school students who do not qualify for free or reduced lunches can pay just $50 per credit hour. And through the summer of 2025, we had 598 students in just a couple of years who were awarded the Colby Commitment Scholarship to a collective total of about $618,000. And so we were able to remove those financial barriers that often prevent some students from even enrolling.
You know, that's one of the dreams. That's one of the dreams of being able to go to college and be able to do that. It sounds like this, in some instances, and maybe most instances, allowed a pathway for students in your area to actually be in class and attend college.
Yeah, and even looking to the future, last year our endowment foundation started a campaign called the 60 for 60. They, in recognition of the college's 60th anniversary in 2024, and they wanted 60 new endowed scholarships, and they far surpassed that. To date, the 60 for 60 campaign has over 130 new endowed and pledged scholarships. So that speaks very well for not only current students, but students for many, many years to come, to know that they can come here and get an education and won't be burdened with a big debt load when they leave.
You know, Doug, you and I were talking before the program about some of the earlier history of Colby College, Community College, and being able to talk about, you know, what I had looked at back in the day and your participation back in the day. Changes have taken place in education. Some of the things you mentioned earlier, some newer curriculum. What have you done changing curriculum-wise? It also has made it, I guess, more exciting for students to look at Colby Community College.
I think a lot of the things get some of the attention, like our women's wrestling we just added for the fall semester. We're only the second team in the Jayhawk Conference to add that. We have made adjustments in in the way that our faculty use textbooks of all things. We talk about affordability. It's no mystery that students have for many, many years have talked about the overwhelming cost of textbooks. They've moved to something, our faculty have moved to something called OER, Open Educational Resources, which are learning materials that aren't licensed. They can be shared and adjusted accordingly to each instructor's needs. And so those are free. And at the last count, or the last figure I saw, about 70% of our courses use OER. So those students don't have that cost of textbooks in a very large number of their courses. And our faculty have also made some adjustments in industry needs. They bring industry experts in to teach on a variety of, depending on what the industry is and what they're teaching. But we have advisory councils for so many of our majors, to where people from industry come in, talk to our students. They'll have panels. They will invite them to come on site with them sometimes. And we just have a large number of people on our campus who are here to help our students learn, who are not part of our faculty.
Well, I looked at the numbers and it looks like over the last 5 years, you guys have grown over 16%, which is a great growth rate during COVID and all these other things that were going on. But you mentioned 3 new buildings, which means there's new things being taught. What are in those 3 new buildings? When you drive through the campus, you say, wow, this is cool. New things are going up here. What are you teaching in those buildings?
Our most recent facility is the Lawn From Agriculture Center, and that is a facility that was much needed. We had one ag building already, which has also been, I didn't even mention that, that's been completely renovated. But the Lawn From building adds something to our campus that was desperately needed. We're outgrowing the existing facility, and the college has really placed an emphasis on agriculture for the next several years, because as we all know, that is our lifeline here in Western Kansas. And so we have put a lot of resources towards agriculture. We've enhanced some of the scholarship opportunities in our ag-related fields. And that's one building. The other 2 buildings are, I don't want to say, I'll say recreational, but that doesn't do it justice. The one is called the Steve Lampe Athletic Center, and that one is a training facility for our student athletes. And when that opened in 2020, Colby, to our knowledge, was the only community college in the Jayhawk Conference that didn't have a dedicated training facility on campus. And so that has opened up a lot of avenues and brought some students to campus that otherwise probably wouldn't have considered Colby. The third building is very unique. It's the Colby Tennis Center, and that is indoor pickleball courts and tennis courts. And I don't know if this is a good thing or not. To reserve a court in the Colby Tennis Center, you need to make a reservation, and the reservation page is on our website. Gary, that reservation page is the third most visited page on our website. So while it's great to have, and it's mainly community members, they use it for free. All of our facilities are open to the community, but that Colby Tennis Center brings people ages 5 to 85 on our campus to engage with our students and our employees. And it's just really nice to see so many different people on campus.
So are you good at pickleball, Doug?
No, not at all. I play, but it is fascinating to see. We have a senior, we don't, but they have organized a senior citizen league on campus. And so that provides some activity for the senior citizens, and they have a women's league and a men's league, and it's just terrific to see all the people on campus.
Well, I love it because on your name, and you look at the name, Colby Community College, One of the things I know the community really gets behind what you guys are doing at the college, and maybe vice versa, because you grow like the community grows, and if they don't grow, probably the college doesn't grow either. So you're taking a look at that. It's great to see the community involvement with your college.
It really is. And I don't think you can find a college anywhere that is doing well that does not have a supportive community. And we've really made an effort to relieve the tax burden. Over the last 8 years, the college has reduced the levy by about 8 mills. And that might not seem like a lot to some colleges in the metropolitan areas, but we have 7,800 people in Thomas County. And as the President Carter is often saying, we have many more cows than people in our county, and unfortunately, cows don't enroll in classes. And so we've had to be creative in how we approach this. So we've reduced the mill levy. We have a mill levy now that is lower than it was in 2012. And I think the community recognizes that, and they have just been behind us. We can't say enough good things about our community. We have very successful endowment foundation auctions every year. Those buildings that we've been talking about, the three of them totaled around $7 million. All of them were paid for by donations and grants. The donor boards in those buildings are incredibly long, and we have just been so pleased with the community output. Our students are very engaged. Our athletic department alone puts in about 1,500 hours of community service in various organizations, the Genesis Thomas County Food Bank, the Colby Grade School after school programs, Special Olympics. They're just in any time somebody needs a couch moved or something, they'll call us, and our wrestling team or our basketball team will go help them out. It's just a very, very good relationship right now.
Well, Doug, you also have, and you just brag a little bit about your graduation record because you are one of the top schools in the Jayhawk Conference for graduation record.
Yeah, really, we've led the state, the community college sector for 7 of the last 10 years in graduation rate. The the highest fall to fall retention rate for the last 5 years. Our our retention rate for the last year was 71%. And I don't think those things happen by accident. That's the result of a very dedicated faculty and strong advising and just a culture that tells students we care about your success. And we put in place some measures that not only identifies at-risk students, but we have a process in place that can check in with them from time to time and just make sure they're doing okay. And so we can intervene when needed and get them the resources they need.
Well, Doug, we're going to take a break here. When I come back, I want to talk about Doug Johnson. How did you get involved with education? I want to hear that story when we come back. Our program is brought to you by Worth Wealth Management. We'll be back after this.
Since 1776, the United States of America continues to stand tall. It's been tested before, many times. Through grit and the ability to move forward, we create better tomorrows. We help our clients live their best lives to and through retirement. We make it easier. Thank you, Kansas. Worth Wealth Management, enhancing lives and strengthening families.
Welcome back to Forward Ever, leading in challenging times with our guest, Doug Johnson, who is with Colby Community College and mainly involved with the public relations side of what goes on at the university. But Doug, what got you involved with education?
Well, frankly, Gary, I needed a job and I applied at Colby Community College years ago. I finished high school here at Colby High School, and I'm an alumnus of Colby Community College and Fort Hays State for a couple of degrees. And I got married, I was unemployed, and I saw that an admissions counselor position was open at the college. The college was always good to me. My father worked here. He was in administration, and so I applied, and And I worked in the student services side for 18 years. And I'm going to start to date myself here as I start throwing in these timelines. But I have a background in radio broadcasting and in communication. And so when the public relations position opened in 2015, I applied and was fortunate enough to be selected.
Well, it's good to have you representing the university or the college there because you do a terrific job of keeping people up to date on what's going on and appreciate what you and the team do over there. Because Colby is, like you say, it's not a great big town, but the community does bring itself around those things that are important out there and, frankly, important to all of us in Northwest Kansas as we continue to grow and continue to do things. What's next on the list for Colby Community College?
Well, we obviously want to keep what is working now, but what worked 5 years ago doesn't work now. So we have to be nimble, and we're very fortunate to have a board of trustees that trusts our administration to make good decisions. And frankly, the college has come to the board with some somewhat risky proposals in the past. They've been calculated risks that have paid off, and our board of trustees, the 6-member board, has been very good to work with. And so we're able to pivot when we need to. COVID was an example of that when fortunately we had placed ourselves for online education in a pretty good spot before that. So when we had to move to an online modality, the college, we had a few hiccups, but our IT department and our faculty just made the adjustment. And so obviously we lost some enrollment, as everybody did through that period, but we were able to make that pivot pretty quickly and sustain our enrollment. So what's next is recently, last week, we put out a bid for new student housing. We're going to build a new dormitory to accommodate some of these students, and that is expected to open in 2027. And we're going to keep reaching into new areas. We had mentioned our education and the correctional facility. No, I didn't get to that. I'm sorry. The correctional facility education, we've expanded at Norton Correctional Facility, moving past the adult education, high school diploma education, and now we're offering certificates and associate degrees in some of the technical education, such as welding and telecommunications and alternative energy, and we hope to expand more on that and even get into some other correctional facilities across the state.
Well, Doug, if somebody wants to find out more about Colby Community College, where do they go? What's the easiest access point to learn more? Whether you want to become a student, whether you want to make a donation, whether you just want to visit the campus, where do you go?
colbycc.edu.
Easy. And you'll find all the information we've just talked about plus more there, correct?
Absolutely. We also have email addresses. You can email me, publicinfo@colbycc.edu, and I'll get you pointed in the right direction.
Doug, thanks for being here with us today, sharing the story of the success of Colby Community College. Doug Johnson is the Director of Public Relations there at the college. Doug, thanks again for being a part of our program.
Thank you, Gary.
Hey, thanks to you for listening and participating. I love the feedback when you send me a note saying, hey, Gary, that was a great show. Doug was just amazing. Love that. Send it to me if you have an idea for future guests. Love to hear that from you as well. Thanks for listening to Forward Ever, Leading in Challenging Times. It's brought to you by Worth Wealth Management, where you can live with confidence. I'm Gary Shorman.
Thanks for joining us for Forward Ever, Leading in Challenging Times, presented by Worth Wealth Management. Join us right here next week for another episode with host Gary Shorman. Until then, remember to move forward ever, backward never.